Hey cats, it's your midsole man Eddbud here. With some more miles into the VAPORFLY NEXT % 4 from Nike, it's time for some more in-depth comparisons up against some of the other super shoes. So pitting the VAPORFLY NEXT % 4 up against the PUMA DEVIATE NITRO Elite 3, the Metaspeed Edge Paris from ASICS, and that favourite shoe of many right now, the Adios Pro 4 from ADIDAS. Which of them should you pick up for your next marathon race? Let's find out. Thanks for joining me on the channel, people. Always appreciated. We're rapidly getting towards 60,000 subscribers now. So if you are a subscriber, just want to say a big thanks. There are lots of you out there though that haven't subscribed as of yet. So if you could do that, I'd really appreciate it. Also give this video a thumbs up, like, and drop us a comment as well to help with that YouTube algorithm. Dankeschön. Stats here on the screen. These are for my UK 11 or US size 12. So before you comment and say, oh Eddbud, you've got the sample size stats wrong, these aren't the sample size stats, they're for my pairs of the shoes. As you can see, the VAPORFLY 4 coming in easily the lightest, but without that more maximal stack of the other options. Despite the fact the Nike shoe is the lightest, it's not the most narrow here in the forefoot. That goes to the ASICS and PUMA shoes, far less width there, though the Nike and ASICS models are much narrower than the Adidas and PUMA shoes back in the heel area of the shoe. The Adidas is easily the widest of all in the video today, with a whopping 12.3 centimeters and the widest point for my size 11. The ASICS and the Nike options the lowest in terms of drop, but the Nike option is easily the most expensive at 240 Earth credits. So they've put the price up a little bit for less stack. So is there anything stand out after my initial runs in the shoe that make it worth the extra money over the other options from the other manufacturers? Well, I've got to be honest with you guys, straight off the bat, no. Kicking off with the comparisons against the Adios Pro 4, this feels more like a marathon race shoe to me in terms of that extra width in the forefoot, and it's just a bit more width in the heel too. Super soft foam in this as well. There may be a bit more return and response to the VAPORFLY 4, but I think for many, the comfort will actually come from the softness of the foam here with that new Lightstrike Pro formula. It almost makes the Zoom X here in the VAPORFLY seem a bit denser, I suppose, a little bit firm. Don't get me wrong, it's very, very forgiving, but I think the Adios Pro 4 is a true marathon shoe now. Very cushioned, very responsive, perhaps a better option, in fact, for those heavier built runners that just want the impact protection over the 26.2. Grip-wise, over 100 miles, the Adios Pro 4 is a wonder, really. Almost nowhere to that light traction rubber material. It's quite sensational. Nike's okay so far. Typical Zoom X stuff here. I've had to remove some thorns and things from the foam. We got lots of creasing and the paint's wearing off. Up front here in the forefoot, the rubber's holding up okay. On road though, I would suggest it doesn't quite have the same grip as the Adidas. Upper fit actually on both shoes is really great. I would suggest that the laces on both are a bit cheap, but for me it's certainly a separation now of this one for like maybe 10k or half marathon racing. This one would be an option for the marathon for me, but it's light enough that it could still work at those lower, shorter distances. And let's not forget that the Adios Pro 4 is 20 quid cheaper than the VAPORFLY 4. So for this round at least, I'm going to give it to the Adios Pro 4. What's we got next? Up next against the ASICS Metaspeed Edge Paris. So closer in weight between these two than the Adios Pro 4. They were a touch narrower in the forefoot and the heel. This is the ASICS closest competitor, I suppose, to the VAPORFLY. Plate placement very similar between the two, and the drop as well from the heel to the toe. So a much closer comparison, I feel, than the Adios Pro 4. I believe both of these shoes will benefit racers who increase their cadence when they're going faster. Almost got like a rolling sort of feel in both shoes now. The upper has a similar feel very thin tongue on both shoes, a simple eyelet chain, and the materials are very flexible, though I would suggest that the Nike is a little less generous in terms of toe box room. I did get quite a bit more bunching in the toe box here in the ASICS. Both are accommodating though and have a very sort of controlled upper and easy to get a good lockdown. The midsole's very energetic here, though I would suggest they lack the sort of soft out-and-out excitement, I suppose, of the Adios Pro 4. There's squash here, but I don't feel the wild bounce and enjoyment that I got from the original Vaporfly. I'm certain that Nike's done something to the ZoomX foam over the years and changed it a little bit. Doesn't feel quite the same as it did. Maybe that's to make it a little bit more durable perhaps, or improve the longevity, but for me it's just not quite what it was. I've found my performances are very similar in both of these shoes at faster paces. Not really my opportune shoes for marathon pace, but for those faster efforts, yes, they certainly work well when I'm increasing the cadence on some intervals or reps, but I think it's down to the plate placement here in both of these shoes. I just seem to really prefer the flatter plates, where they're very curved in the forefoot sections of both of these. They're not perhaps my ultimate favourites. As a stride runner, the Alphafly 3 or the Metaspeed Sky Paris just seem to fit the bill a little bit better. Outsole's decent on both, though I would in this situation err towards the Metaspeed Edge Paris. Just a bit more minimal in my testing over the Vaporfly. The painted ZoomX here really does take a pounding. I found that the untreated material here in the ASICS just seems to have a little bit more to it. Quite a sticky rubber material here, whereas it's a little bit more like a rubberized foam, I suppose, here in the Nike shoe. Again, there's a 20 quid difference between these two, and that's nothing to sneeze at, I suppose. But you've got additional stack here in this shoe, and perhaps that might mean that you edge towards the Metaspeed Edge Paris. I do prefer the looks of the Nike shoe in this situation, but you don't look at your shoes when you're running, do you? I think the upper just fits me a little bit better here in the ASICS shoe, and perhaps if you're racing those shorter distances, then weight is going to come into it. There's a very, very slight difference between these, so if I had to pick one, I think I'd probably go towards the Vaporfly 4 on this occasion. Last one. Always try and pick shoes for these comparison videos where there's very little in it. There you can dive a little deeper into the details. So last one up, a more aggressive drop here in the PUMA DEVIATE NITRO Elite 3. Though you got more heel stack again, the other three shoes in the video are all 40mm heel stack options. Oddly, I find the PUMA a little bit more stable, despite the fact that it's actually narrower in the forefoot. Got a little bit more heel width in the PUMA. I just find it a little bit more assured, I suppose. I think the difference here is that you've got a channel cut out here, but it's not actually that deep. The main cutout is a little bit further up into the midfoot, whereas here that channel runs all the way through from the midfoot to the heel. I found that it does have quite a major impact on the stability of the shoes. Outsole grip, absolutely excellent on the PUMA option. The PUMA's sadly worn away in the forefoot there, but across the rest of the outsole there's almost no degradation at all. Durability absolutely on point. I've had to pull like a thorn out of the outsole section here. It's just embedded into the foam. It took ages to get out. It's quite deep, in fact. So if you're running on any sort of surfaces where you might have some of that, which is, you know, practically anywhere, isn't it, really? Do be aware ZoomX just isn't all that durable. One of the big things you got to consider here between these two shoes, you know, they're both really, really light. Upper's quite minimal, but this one's 45 quid cheaper than the Vaporfly, and you've got, you know, 3mm of heel stack more, probably a little bit more stable for most people out there. I feel the overall longevity of this one's just going to be much better. It's going to make for a great trainer once its race days are over. With ZoomX these days, it just feels like as soon as you take it out the box and start using it, the magic properties are starting to diminish already. You know, these PUMA foams are great, right? But they just never last as long as the TPU stuff does. Practically every ZoomX shoe that I've had has had the same issue. And the PUMA options, especially the Fast R, 2 as well. That just keeps on rolling for ages. So if you can try the Puma, I would recommend it. There's often some quite good deals on these as well. Might be able to save yourself a load of cash, and you're getting something that's perhaps a little bit more usable in the long run, no pun intended. 45 quid isn't a small difference in terms of price, especially when you think that the Puma's a slightly more versatile all-round racer than the Vaporfly 4 is these days. I think the extra heel stat might just help a few people out on the latter stages of that 26.2 mile endurance test. So this round, I'm going to give it to the Puma. Okay, that's my breakdown on some of the close contenders to the Vaporfly 4. Did you grab a pair of these? How are you finding them? Are you regretting your purchase? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. Musical interlude for you. I've been listening to the fantastic chilled out sounds of Going Going Gone by the Mild High Club. Excellent jazz fusion things here, lo-fi elements as well, some very interesting production decisions here, some wonderful electric piano sounds, and really chilled out beats. This one's a great option if you're going out on one of those sunny long runs. Can just really zone out and relax yourself, keep that heart rate down, keeping the pace a bit lower. Going Going Gone is a fantastic album for that. I think it was out in 2021. It's not one that I had heard of before, just sort of stumbled across it when I was looking through some suggestions that were in line with Mac DeMarco, because I saw he's got a new album coming out later in the year. This one popped up and it's a real gem, so I urge you to go and check it out if you want something nice and relaxed for the longer runs. Going Going Gone by Mild High Club. Thanks for tuning in, people, always appreciated. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like. Drop us a comment too to help with that YouTube algorithm. My name's Eddbud and I'll be seeing you